Howdy. How's it going? Welcome to the Harley Carnes podcast. I'm going to take a look at some of the stories today. Thank you. Thanks for being there. Thanks for being on the other side of that camera, And thanks for hitting like, follow, and subscribe. It's helping. It takes a little while, but, we're going to get there together, as the saying goes. It is amazing, truly amazing, and alarming, actually, when you look around and realize how deeply far-left liberal political thought, meaning socialist thought, permeates the world. Not just the fringe of American politics that far too many people think is a new phenomenon. I'm talking about all over the world. Question: is the International Criminal Court in The Hague liberal or conservative? If you look at the cases it undertakes, the answer is, in the main, quite liberal. Latest example, the ICC decided it should investigate Israel for possible crimes against Palestinians and Hamas, the terrorist organization. The ICC did not launch an investigation into crimes committed by Hamas against Israel. A panel of ICC judges issued an arrest warrant for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister. Of course, Netanyahu said, that's absurd. Get that shit out of here. It's ridiculous. They did not issue arrest warrants for the leaders of the terrorist group or any radical Palestinian or any other terror group for that matter. American taxpayers help pay for the ICC, their budget, which of course also does some good work. But like the UN, the thrust of its work seems to be in support of liberal causes and governments and organizations. President Trump said Americans don't have to help pay for that, so he reduced U.S. funding to the court. Now, liberal groups have gone to court to try to force the U.S. to restore funding, claiming it was a violation of the constitutional rights of American citizens to shield officials of a foreign government who have committed genocide, referring to Israel. So now Israel, which was attacked by terrorists, men, women, and children slaughtered in their homes, playgrounds, schools, now Israel is a genocidal menace for going after Hamas. Come on. We don't have to look as far away as the Netherlands to find evidence of this cancer. We built a magnificent edifice of an office tower for the diplomats of the world who had formed the League of Nations and became the United Nations. That building, magnificent with some of the world's best security, sits on the banks of the East River in New York City and has become a beacon of the left for the world. The Rockefeller family donated the land to the UN. It's not just one building. It's actually 7 main buildings. Most folks are unaware of that. The UN has 6 principal organs: the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the Trusteeship Council, the International Court of Justice, and the UN Secretariat, plus 15 specialized agencies that collaborate with the UN on a variety of global issues. That's in New York. The UN also has a vast complex in Geneva, Switzerland. More than 24 of the UN's most powerful agencies are managed from there, from the Conference on Disarmament to the High Commission on Human Rights, another for refugees, one for social development, intellectual property, and the World Trade Organization. I mean, a couple dozen of them. I only mentioned a couple. I only mentioned Geneva to underline just how vast the UN and its reach have become. And the U.S. pays more of its annual budget than any other country. The list of politically liberal, inspired programs at the UN is literally staggering. It's eye-popping. The UN would like to be the seat of the world's one central government, and it operates as though that's already on the verge of reality. The left-leaning political heartbeat is felt strongly in New York City. which has moved progressively, like a cancer progresses, ever more deeply through the city, to such an extent that a Muslim with sympathies expressed for radicals who proclaims himself a socialist has been elected the mayor of New York City. And just like that, let me try my right hand. I could snap better that way. You get the idea. Just like that, Zoran Mamdani eclipsed cranky old Bernie Sanders and ditzy coffee maker AOC as symbols of the far left. Fortunately, Mamdani is a power broker who is not yet adept, but he's a fast learner and has all the help he might want for the ongoing battle to tear down the representative, democratic, free market government of the United States and replace it with socialist, communist, top-down control. Now, you hear me say that and you think, gosh, Carnes has lost his mind. He's moved far to the right. That's just crazy right-wing junk, right? Mm-hmm. There were 45 goals set to do exactly what I just said. 58 years ago. 45 goals. Now, that also might sound to you like, just noise. Communism's 45 goals were read into the U.S. congressional record by a Democrat from Florida, Albert Herlong Jr., in the House in 1963. It was offered as a bridge between capitalism and communism. I want you to listen to this. It's going to take a minute, but it's worth it. It's educational because most of us don't know this. We've been hearing about the communist playbook for a long time, and there's more than one. But this one was read into the U.S. congressional record. I don't have to make any of this stuff up. Progressivism is another form of socialism. Both believe that it can centralize control over you, the individual, or land and industry, gradually and mostly peacefully through legislation. Communism is blunt. It pursues a violent confrontation to eliminate all dissension to achieve a utopia of stateless and classless society. In all cases, all three of those cases, the goal is monolithic, meaning from just one place, control of society. Now, a lot of people do hear this, and they think when they hear someone speak like this that they're coming from a wacky right-wing point of view, full of hate and discriminatory intent. Just so you know, I am personally just to the right of center, fairly liberal on a lot of social issues, conservative on issues of safety, security, and the need to protect your individual rights to choose your own course in life and make and therefore be responsible for all the decisions that chart and conduct that course. Any government that gets in the way of your individual rights is a poisonous government. So I want to read to you just 18 of the 45 communist, socialist, progressive goals that were read into the record at the U.S. House in 1963. You consider for yourself how close we have become. Number 1, capture one or both of the political parties. 2, get control of schools and teachers' associations and soften the curriculum. Get rid of A, B, C, D, E, F. Give kids a medal just for participating. Soften the curriculum. Gain control of student newspapers. Infiltrate the press. Gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and pictures. Eliminate laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and the press. That's number 6. 7, break down cultural standards of morality to promote pornography and obscenity in the media. 8, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. That's the way they put it in 1963. Number 9, eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the grounds that it violates the principle of separation of church and state. Now, if you accept that automatically, by the way, you don't understand what the founders meant by the separation of church and state. That's not it. That's not what they meant. They meant not have the government set up a religion or endorse just one religion. Anyway, number 10, discredit the Constitution by calling it inadequate for the times and old-fashioned. Did you spell Obama? That's exactly what he did. He'd called the Constitution inadequate for the current times, old-fashioned, and needed to be reworked a bit. Mm-hmm. Discredit the American founding fathers as selfish aristocrats and racists. Belittle American culture. Discourage the teaching of American history. Number 13, discredit and eventually dismantle the FBI. Number 14, infiltrate and gain control of big business and unions. 15, transfer some of the powers of arrest from police to social agencies. Treat all behavioral problems as mental health or social problems. Number 16, discredit the family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity. Make divorce easy. 17, emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents. 18, all the world courts should have jurisdiction of nations and individuals by rescinding the Connolly Reservation. Now, just so you know, the Connolly Reservation limits any control of world bodies like the UN and the world courts over the United States. In other words, they can't tell us what to do. But number 18 says to make sure that all the courts do have jurisdiction over nations and individuals, including the United States. There has been a strong push to make that happen. As a matter of fact, the last vote in Congress that would have rescinded the Connolly Reservation, from which this plot comes, was a very close vote. It was split. Most Democrats voting to do that. Now, each one of those items could be the subject of a podcast. Probably have, separately, whenever someone out there feels exercised about one of the subjects. But when you realize that all 18 of them, and more than 25 other steps like them, were part of a plan actually read into the public record at the U.S. House, it takes on a different tenor, doesn't it? It's not right-wing conspiracy. It is a plan, published, and right here for all of us to see around us in America, unfolding. You can make the measurement in your own mind of how close we are to each of those things, because you ultimately do get to the point where socialism runs this country, where progressivism leads us to that, and ultimately where socialism becomes communism. In the 250th year, since we declared that we would not ever be dominated by government, but would be individually free to live our lives, and in fact, the government's primary job is to protect those individual rights and protect us from enemies who would take them from us, both foreign and domestic. Now, I got into all of that because it pisses me off to see the situation reach the point where the far left goes to court to try to force the U.S. government to support, in fact, to pay for legal attacks on Israel for defending itself against terrorists out to destroy it. All too often, we don't see or don't know why the anchoring roots of American freedom seem to be diseased. You should know the history and the plan. And you should have an idea why there are judges and lawyers who will actually take up a lawsuit that claims that somehow the ICC or the UN or any other group has a constitutional right to funding by U.S. taxpayers, instead of laughing it out of court and saying, get this drivel out of here. Yeah. A couple more headlines. Hostilities continue between the U.S. and Iran for a fifth straight day this go-around. That's the headline. I'm not spending any more time on that. Not today. Members of the military have an annual physical exam. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says the exam will also include for testosterone deficiency after age 30 because the big T does tend to diminish as we age and it becomes physically more difficult to accomplish the demanding tasks required of warriors. Athletes run into it. We all run into it as we get older. Testosterone supplements can help keep them strong and fast. And if younger members want to be screened, they can ask for it. There is a new world's largest piggy bank. It was created for a theme park in Colombia, Mano del Artesano. It is made of ceramics. It stands just over 29 and a half feet tall and is right at 34 feet long. It weighs 30 tons, and it has a coin slot. People do put money in there, which gets donated to local animal shelters. I've got a little video, of course. Let's take a look. The inside of the pig is hollow, though not empty. There is a gallery dedicated to the history of the ceramic piggy bank, and there is a scenic view of the Boyaca Mountains through the pig's nose. We just gave you one with a drone. Of course, I didn't do it. We got that from Instagram this time. Yeah. Guess what the House did yesterday? No, don't guess. I'll tell you. The House voted to make the shift to daylight saving time permanent. No more switching back and forth twice a year. Next, the Senate takes a vote, and if they pass it, it'll go, obviously to the president, and Mr. Trump has said he will sign it. Is it good or a bad idea? I don't know. It's personal preference, I guess, with good arguments on both sides of it. So that'll do it. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for tuning in today. Hope you'll come back. Bring some folks with you. You've given me a little bit of your time. I appreciate it. And I hope you'll pop in from time to time to HarleyCarnes.com. I am Harley Carnes, and until next time, do yourself a favor. Make some good, conscious choices in your life today. Make a decision to be happy and fly safe. It's the only way to get there.